Bethany Building Center is your locally owned source for quality building supplies, lumber, hardware, plumbing, and electrical needs. Whether you're starting new construction, tackling a remodel, or putting up a pole barn or shed, our team is here to help. We're proud to carry a full line of steel power equipment, including trimmers, chainsaws, and pressure washers, as well as trusted power tools from top brands like Milwaukee and DeWalt. Bethany Building Center, everything for the builder and the do-it-yourselfer.
Craving authentic Mexican flavor? Come to El Nopal, where every bite tastes like home. From sizzling fajitas and street-style tacos to delectable desserts, El Nopal brings the true taste of Mexico to your table. And now, we can bring the fiesta to you. Book the El Nopal food truck for birthdays, weddings, or any special event. And let us serve up tradition on wheels. El Nopal, authentic Mexican food made with love.
All right, CF Rainey here on Sports Central, brought to you by Harrison County Community Hospital. Another one of our interviews, and we get Coach Kasey McFall, South Harrison wrestling coach. And Coach, we talked last week. You're at the very beginning of your season here, and since then you went and had a quad over in Trenton with Trenton, Albany, and Penny. And so maybe talk about how your team did at that meet over in Trenton.
Yep, so we dueled Penny, Trenton, and Albany, and our boys went 2-1 on the night. We beat Penny and Albany, and then we lost a pretty close one to Trenton. And then our girls wrestled really tough, and they dueled Trenton and Penny. Albany doesn't have any girls out this year, so they all got at least one match, and they wrestled really well, really tough. And these are teams we're going to see throughout the remainder of the year. So it was good to see them early, and some GRC opponents there. So we kind of get to see where we're at and see where we need to keep working.
All right, and so we're right up against Christmas break, and you guys have this Friday and Saturday the battle at Katy Trail. I assume that is. Does that reach almost statewide, or is it mainly Central Missouri, North Missouri? I'd guess that's going to be a great test for you guys down at that one.
Yeah, there's 40 girls schools, 40 or 45 girls schools, and then 45 or 50 boys schools. And it's pretty well statewide. There's a lot of teams that travel a long ways to be there, staying in hotels and whatnot, being a 2-day tournament. But it's made up of mostly Class 1 schools, but there are maybe 10 Class 2 schools sprinkled in, and I think there's 1 or 2 out-of-state schools this year. So they try to keep it mostly limited to Missouri schools, but every year they bring in 1 or 2 from Kansas or Iowa.
And so you'll go down there, and it's a 2-day tournament. How do they break that up when you're talking about that many schools going in? Are there different groups and pools that you go into? Then it gets to tournament as you get to Saturday, or how does something work like that when you're talking about that many wrestlers from that many schools?
Yeah, so every bracket is a 40-man bracket. So they'll seed how many ever they think need to be seeded. Usually it's around 8, and then that top seed in the pool will have 3-4 wrestlers in with them. And that first night they'll wrestle all through the pool, so it'll be a little round robin. And then depending on how you come out of your pool, if you win your pool, you'll go to the A bracket for the second day. If you get second in your pool, you'll also go to the A bracket. And then if you take third, fourth, or fifth, you'll go into a different bracket and wrestle for, I think it'd be 17th. So if you do well on the first day, you'll go into that A pool and you'll be able to wrestle for a medal.
Okay, so how many matches could someone wrestle in something like that over the course of a 2-day tournament?
Our mission rules is you can wrestle 6 matches in a day, but it can't be back-to-back. So they could wrestle 10 matches over 2 days. And I've only seen that happen a couple times, but it could happen if there were no buys.
So when you get to that, and this is for maybe people that don't follow wrestling a lot, does attrition start to work in, just your physical fitness, your endurance when you're wrestling that many matches possibly in a day?
Yeah, and it's a long day. A lot of times it's the sitting around in between matches that really kills you, rather than the actual matches. I think if you talk to any wrestler, if they're wrestling 5 in a day, they'd rather wrestle 5 in 3 or 4 hours than 5 over a 12 or 13 hour span. So yeah, but over 2 days, it's really important that the kids are staying up. They're not just sleeping in the stands in between matches, staying up, moving around, and just being ready. And that's part of the mental toughness that plays a big role in the wrestling. You got to be mentally tough all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's something again people miss if you're used to football or basketball for the most part, right? You show up, you play one game, football 1 game a week, basketball maybe 2 games. If it's a tournament, you're only playing 1 game a night, and seldom are you playing back-to-back nights. And here you could have multiple matches in one day. And the other thing, Coach, that I think a lot of people miss when you're looking at wrestling, so it's 3 periods. Are they 3 minutes each? Your
Just
periods?
two
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 minutes
minutes.
in high.
Okay, but I think people look at that like 2 minutes. What's the big deal? Or 6 minutes? What's the big deal? The amount of energy expended in those 2 minutes or 6 minutes, if you go all three, is huge. And maybe just speak to that, what it takes to do that.
Yeah, 2 minutes in wrestling feels a lot more like 10 minutes of basketball. And basketball is hard. It's a lot of running, but the truth is wrestling it's just on another level when you're in there and you're in a tough match. And 2 minutes first period, 2 minutes second period, 2 minutes third period. We've wrestled a lot of 6 minute matches this year, and it takes a lot to get these kids ready for a 6 minute period. And if you ask any of our kids that first meet we had, um, there wasn't a single one of them that felt like they were ready for it. And that's after doing a couple weeks of live, and we're wrestling live in the room a lot more than 6 minutes a day. We're in 2 minutes at a time. We're doing college periods, and a lot of things to get the kids ready. So yeah, 6 minutes it doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're out there, it turns into a long time.
Yeah, and I've seen it when you show up. There are times as a kid, and especially you get to those heavyweights, those big bodies laying on each other, pushing each other around, and you'll see a kid kind of peek back up towards the clock to see how many more seconds do I have to get through this. And so you've got this big match, and then we talked about just a little last week. Then you get Christmas break, and I think the other thing people miss if they've never had a student, a child that's in basketball or wrestling, the fact there's a little bit of time off, but there's practices and things that'll go on even if school's not going on over that break period.
Yeah, we pretty much don't. I mean, you get Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and I give them the day after Christmas off this year since it's on a Friday. And I know a lot of people are going to be out of town, but other than that, it's we pretty much got to keep going. If we take a long break, then it's like we're starting over, and the kids will agree with that. If we take a long break and they come in on a Monday after we got a week and a half off, they'll regret that break. So yeah, we have to stay after it all throughout break.
Well, and it's not just a few days off. They're completely out of routine. I've got teenagers at my house. I've got a son that's back from college, and he's staying up a little later than normal because you don't have class and things going on each day. Staying up a little later, sleeping a little later, eating different foods. Obviously, Christmas, there's a lot of celebration stuff. You're not on a regular eating schedule, and just how that affects, especially in wrestling, when your weight is important.
For sure, we have a lot of kids who, I mean, if we give them a long break, they're going to come back and they're not going to be within reach of that weight class they need to wrestle. So that's another reason we try to stay active, and even if we're not having practice, um, I'm encouraging them to get a workout in on their own at the very least.
And so, Coach, you're building up. You'll come back and you'll really. I was looking at the schedule. Really start to hit things a little more regularly after Christmas break, and all that builds towards conference and district, and then hopefully state. Seasons are long. I actually had a student this morning. He goes, "How long is wrestling season? When does it get over?" And just curious. And you get to these winter seasons, you get that break in between. How do you approach wrestling? Not just being ready for these first meets before Christmas, but to try to peak when you're getting to the end of your season.
Well, the first thing I do is I try to make sure the kids understand that we're trying to get better right now. Like that's what it's all about. You win some, you lose some, but from every wrestling match, you need to take something from it. And you can be mad after a loss. I get that, but you need to learn from it. Um, and that's how we're going to get better and peak at the end of the year. It's not throwing fits right now when we lose, being so upset that we can't listen. We just got to take something from it. And then on top of that, winning, we want to win, but we want to wrestle well while we win. You said I've heard coaches say there's no such thing as a bad win, but there definitely is. And there's times where, it might be better if we ended up losing that match because we might take something from it. Especially in wrestling where what we do right now in December, it doesn't exactly correlate to the end of the year. We need to be wrestling our best in February and at districts. And I've seen a lot of kids who wrestle really good at the beginning of the year and then they get in this slump. And, it's just important that we are headed in the right direction for February.
All right. Well, Coach, good luck this weekend down at the battle on Katy Trail, and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a good time. We look forward to talking to you when we get back after break.
Yeah, you too, Sia. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks.